think I need.
Excellent. Well, good afternoon, everybody. I'm James Poviwa, and I'm the chair of the Sustainable Economy Advisory Council. I would like to call the February 2024 meeting of our council to order, and I will now go ahead and take roll call. I am here, James Poviwa. Daisy Maldonado.
Present.
Thank you. Patricia Knighton. I see you, present. Good to see you, Patricia. Glenn Schiffbauer.
Present.
Thank you. Rob Black.
Here.
Thank you. Cassie Arias. Jonathan Perry.
Present.
Thank you. Mayani Barudan. Atsa Chavez.
Present.
Thank you. Joseph Little is excused. Wendy Atsity.
Present.
Thank you. Janine Yazzie. Marissa Naranjo. All right, well, thanks everyone for joining. I believe our first item on the agenda is to approve minutes. Is that correct?
Approve the agenda.
Excuse me. So on our agenda, I'm sorry, Michael, or if somebody has that handy, if we could put that up, that'd be great. Thank you. So we've gone through roll call. We are looking through the agenda now. We will approve minutes from November 14th, January 9th, and January 18th. We will also have a discussion of this coming year's calendar for SEAC and various meeting dates that we are drafted to take a look at. And we will also have a informal debrief of the 2024 legislative session, move to public comment, and adjourn. Could I have a motion to approve this agenda?
Jonathan Perry motion.
Thank you.
Patricia Knighton, second.
Thank you. All in favor? Aye, or raise your hand.
Aye.
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 Excellent. Thank you. Well, I want to jump over to and Patricia, are you voting yes, or did you have a quick question?
No, I was voting yes. Sorry. Yep.
Great.
Sorry.
And Michael and Kayla and others, we have put together a draft agenda for this year, which we hope will help make things a little bit easier for council members to plan ahead for our various meetings. And so, Michael, if you want to put that up, thank you. And Michael, do you want to just run through it if you'd like, or I can?
No, I'm happy to do that.
Thank you.
Sure. So yeah, we tried just to give an idea of how we're looking to structure this. So we're trying to make it align more with the strategic plan so that we would pick various topics throughout the year that focus on a particular aspect of the strategic plan. And also try to tie that also to a region or location that might be representative or where we might get some presentations that would be relevant to that topic. Already looks like we may have to do an adjustment to March, but I'll just run through the list and then get your all's feedback, and then we can make adjustments as needed. So March 26th, we were looking at Las Cruces to talk about global trade and border infrastructure. April 23rd, there's going to be a celebration of the anniversary of the Gila Wilderness. So we're thinking that's a good opportunity to talk about outdoor recreation and to do the meeting down in the southwestern part of the state, either Silver City, Baird, somewhere in Grant County. In May, we thought it might be good to do one of the Pueblos or the Mescalero Apache reservation, and we were thinking we could do agriculture, film and television could be another one, but that's totally open to be determined. In June, we thought we could look at the aerospace industry and do a meeting in the middle part of the state, the southern middle part, like Socorro, Truth or Consequences, and maybe also do renewable and green energy, since New Mexico Tech, for instance, is doing the research around geothermal energy. July 23rd, we were looking at Española, but now we may be looking at that for March as a possibility. But July is when we thought we should start talking about draft recommendations for the strategic plan. And then August to finalize some recommendations that we could send on to Set Force, and possibly do that meeting in Santa Fe. September, we have Belen as a possibility. We can revisit renewable and green energy and intelligent manufacturing, since we have the Arcosa Wind Towers facility there, Maxion here in the Albuquerque area. So, and maybe cybersecurity could be another topic that we take up. October 1st is the deadline for the report to the LFC, which is why we wanted to kind of get an earlier start on recommendations to the strategic plan, so that we could, any adjustments or any updates to that, we can report out to the LFC. And then in October, we could look at our legislative priorities going into 2025. So again, getting an earlier start on that than we did this year. Right now, we're thinking of that as a virtual meeting. And then November 26th and in the December meeting, those are to be determined, given that we're right around the Thanksgiving holidays in November, and then obviously December, we're into the end of year holidays. So anyway, so that's just kind of the generally what we're looking at in terms of the scheduling for this year and some of the locations we're thinking of, and we're totally open to hearing your suggestions and edits.
Thank you, Michael. So yes, this is definitely a draft agenda for the year. So open to any questions or feedback from council members. We're also really hoping to partner with council members in these communities, if you're close to one or if it is your community, and excited about it. And I think the process that we'll probably go through is any feedback that you want to provide now, and we'll give you the next week or so to send in any other thoughts that you might have. But again, opening it up to council members if you have feedback on this tentative agenda for the year. Daisy?
Yeah, I just had a question. Michael mentioned maybe for next month, switching the location. Obviously, I'm in Las Cruces, so I have a bias and a request to have a meeting in Las Cruces. So my question just really is, if the meeting next month is in Española, would then a meeting in Las Cruces be scheduled? Like, would they just switch places? That's my question.
Happy to talk about that, and we would love to come down to Las Cruces. Also really appreciate Patricia offering to support, and we could adjust. My question would just be if you have enough time to plan for April, or excuse me, for March, given that we're very close to it. Glenn?
Yeah, I just had a quick question about the time on some of the meetings at 5:30. There was any reason for those being later than some of the others?
I believe those might be a typo, but Michael?
No, I think the reason for that recommendation is to allow for folks in the community that may be working to be able to participate in the evening.
Okay.
Thank you. Atsa? So I don't know if you're able to come off mute.
I am sorry about that. I'm just technically trying on my phone. I just wanted to say that, you know, I appreciate the diversity of some of the areas, but I would like to still potentially see if we can have one in the Four Corners, if there is time or place. I know that the San Juan Solar facility is out there and they are employing a number of folks. So I just wanted to put that out there. And that I could also help coordinate with the ask there as well.
Noted, and we would appreciate that so we can think through how we might adjust that and fit in a Four Corners visit. Rob?
Thank you, James. To start, I appreciate the work in thinking about tying this into our economic development strategy. I think I like that. What I'd like to, and I know we have goals and schedule kind of set on today's agenda, but I haven't really, frankly, not knowing the agenda that far in advance, I was not really prepared, but I do think having some intentionality about what we want to accomplish with each of these and why we're doing it, as opposed to just going to hear a presentation, I think would be helpful for us as we think about whether that's, you know, what are the ways that we ensure, you know, whether it's low income folks, disadvantaged folks, access into these careers and these areas, what are the barriers, but really trying to think through the intentionality of what we want to bring to the table from this group into those conversations, because we have, I think, some unique voices here that can inform those discussions. And I'd like to make sure that we're being intentional about that. The second piece, and that may be, you know, that we're pulling in some of our training programs around those areas as well. So if you're, and you mentioned New Mexico Tech on renewables, but I think the one that I would throw into New Mexico Tech, where am I? Even more so than that is the cybersecurity. They have one of the leading programs in the country, and that may be, instead of doing a renewable there, maybe that's something that's done in the Four Corners, or we've got it under the Berlin rubric right now on the September 24th. But Socorro will be really good place to have a conversation with New Mexico Tech around their cybersecurity programs.
Thanks, Rob. Appreciate that. Yeah, and as we were developing this, we also were trying to be mindful of what were our local universities and colleges that we might want to partner with or highlight projects like you were suggesting there. And really quickly before we go to Patricia, I don't know, Michael or if Kayla, you want to comment on how we're trying to ensure that these meetings have actionable items, and that we're taking portions of the strategic plan and reviewing it and gathering information.
Yeah, I can start with one part of that. So what we're also thinking is that for each of these meetings, and say we are talking about cybersecurity, Rob, like you're suggesting, is that we would pull out parts of the strategic plan where that's referenced, and then we would send that in advance for you all to review, so that before we get to the meeting, you've actually had a chance to review those parts and be prepared to have a conversation around that topic. So that's one way that we're thinking to kind of break it up as well, so that, you know, we all know it's hard to read a 400-page document, but, you know, if we take a different aspect of it, give you all a little bit of homework going into the meeting, and then that gives us a way to have an informed discussion going into it.
Thank you, Michael.
Thanks.
Excellent.
Another note on this is that, well, as the synthesis of these past meetings is ongoing, I've been watching hours and hours of videos of past meetings that you all have had and set force meetings to try and get my head around what to do with the added capacity that we have here. And one of the early desires was to get the working groups going I think two of those are particularly important for me to have direction proceeding as I bring together your feedback. So I would love to see if we can sort of get going with the working groups on community engagement and on tribal engagement, because I think I would like to have that feedback before I do anything. It would be helpful to know how you all feel about this before we proceed. And, you know, in particular with the community engagement component, CCP had done a great start of sort of putting together what that might look like. And I think more specifically, I'm interested in how should we focus that geographically? How do we think about who we talk to and how we reach them and all those sorts of things? So if folks are still excited about those groups, I would love to proceed with those. And I know there were others, but these two in particular seem kind of the essence right now.
Patricia?
Yeah, just a couple of quick things. I see, so you may be changing the Las Cruces schedule. Have you already engaged with the Borderplex folks and got their commitment? I presume so, or are we looking to try to do that?
I have not, Michael or Kayla. I don't know if you have been able to reach out.
No, we haven't. We wanted to get feedback first from everyone on a general schedule before we move forward
Makes
with
sense.
that. Yeah.
Excellent. Yeah, no problem. That's good. So I did present the notion of a Las Cruces visit to the NMSU Economic Development Council, who are very excited to do whatever they can do to support that, and things on campus that might tie in as well. But they would certainly, and so we'll work that depending on how you shuffle that schedule. And just to let you know that one of the Arrowhead Center statewide programs is called NM Surge, the New Mexico Clean Energy and Resilience program. They're working with companies all over the state. So wherever you focus on, whether it's in Socorro or Four Corners, I concur with Rob. The cybersecurity at New Mexico Tech is very, very strong. And but NM Surge can kind of be pretty mobile and support another meeting and maybe give a short presentation to promote the kind of work they're doing with New Mexico startups and small businesses in the clean energy space. So I just add that, and so happy to continue working with you on that.
Yeah, and just a comment, I think maybe we can have a meeting together with you, Patricia, and you, Daisy, so that we can think about the different things that you would want to bring to the table for a meeting there, so that we can incorporate all of it, hopefully.
Perfect. And April would be a good time for that as well. But you've got, yeah, we'll talk. Okay, good.
Fine.
Great. Thank
you. Thanks, Patricia, and thank you, Daisy. Any other thoughts from council members on this proposed agenda? Additional feedback? All right, well, we will get this out to you all again. Michael, you were about to say something, I think.
Yeah, just a quick question, James. Is there any one of these dates where any of those locations would be a bad time of year? Like it wouldn't work because there's something else going on, or it conflicts with anything, or do we have flexibility to move things around?
The only thing I'll mention is April. We've spoken with some community members and elected officials down in Silver City. I believe that it is the 100th anniversary of the Gila Wilderness, and we were hoping to pair with that. But that also, you know, we can discuss that. All right, well, hearing no further discussion, I also see that ATSA has offered to support on tribal engagement, so we'll definitely engage with you and other IAD appointed council members. I am going to back up a little bit because I accidentally skipped over an item in our agenda. And so if we could go back to approving meeting notes from our previous meetings. I believe Michael sent those out recently.
Sure, let me pull them up. It's gonna look a little scary, so bear with me.
Yeah, January 9th.
Okay, and so this is November 14th from 2023 that we're looking at. Give folks a moment to take a look, and then entertain a motion to approve the minutes.
So moved, Rob Black.
Thank you. A second.
Second.
We have Glenn or Daisy for second and third. All in favor, aye, or raise your hand.
Aye.
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 Thank you. We can move on to our January notes. And here we have January 9th. So again, please take a look and we'll entertain a motion to approve.
Motion.
Thank you,
Jonathan.
Joyce. Thank you. Second.
Second.
Thank you, Glenn. All in favor, aye, or raise your hand.
Aye.
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 Thank you all. And our final minutes to review are January 18th, 2024. Do I have a motion to approve?
Move to approve.
Thank you, Glenn.
Second.
Thank you, Patricia. All in favor, aye, or raise your hand.
Aye.
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 James, this is Rob Black. I'm going to abstain. I was not part of the meeting, so I would not want to vote on the minutes.
Got it. Noted. Thank you. Thanks for getting these up on the screen. I think we can pull them down, Shani. And our next item on the agenda is moving back to informal discussion of this past legislative session. I just wanted to highlight a couple, three different things that move forward. It's quite a 30 days for those of us that were advocating during the session. It was a sprint. Thanks everybody for all their hard work. This is by no way a comprehensive list, but just to note that the New Mexico Match Fund, which is $75 million in state money, which will go to matching federal dollars from the Inflation Reduction Act and the bipartisan infrastructure bill, and bring significantly more resources and dollars into the state for renewable projects, et cetera, passed, which was a huge effort by various organizations, advocacy organizations, and legislative champions. We also got some progress on clean fuel standards, which I'll skip. And then an additional program that passed was temporary assistance for needy families, funding for workforce pilot program, which was spearheaded by Somos Un Pueblo Unido. They also presented on this, and also Rob had elevated a similar program. So it's exciting that they now have the funding to do wraparound supports for training programs that will reach parts of our communities that are sometimes excluded. So an exciting new training program. Michael, or others, did you have any additional things to add? And then, of course, I want to open it up to council members for any things that you wanted to highlight from the session.
Well, some of the agencies reported out in the set force meeting, a couple of things that, a couple of additional things that passed. So NMED also reported on the clean cars, well, the tax credits for clean cars, geothermal, solar, household solar, so a number of things. All of those got included in House Bill 252. Public Education Department reported that they got funding for the College and Career Readiness Bureau. They said they got $40 million to spend on career technical education this year, and a $5 million allocation for summer enrichment internship programs. General Services Department said they may be getting $4 million for electric vehicles for their fleet. And Department of Workforce Solutions also talked about support for the workforce training and apprenticeship program, plus $30 million. I think they said there's another allocation for the Be Pro, Be Proud truck. Rob, you probably know more about that. And a reauthorization for ETA funds for their second phase, which will be on supporting former workers and enrollment for training programs. Yeah, as part of their phase 2. So
excellent.
Reported.
Thank you, Michael. Kayla or Shawnee, did you all have anything to add?
I do, but I'll wait on that because it was still about the work plan.
Got it. Thanks. Rob?
Sure, I'll just follow up on Michael's comments. So Chair Small helped create the Government Results and Opportunity Expendable Trust Fund. That in that fund, there is a variety of budget lines, and it's a 3-year pilot program that has ongoing funding structure. In that fund, we were able to get $20 million a year for 3 years. So a total of $60 million that will fund career technical education certifications, not tied to 2- and 4-year programs. So that was, while I didn't get the 500 million, we got 60 over 3 years. So what we had told the governor's team was that we were hoping for 20, a budget that could get us to 20 million a year. Hopefully we can show the success and the demand for that. And so that is built into the budget. I think it will be very complementary to the TANF monies, because those TANF monies can help support people who are getting those certifications and training throughout their training programs. There's also $2 million a year for the 3 years to support the partnership with Workforce Solutions and the foundation doing Be Pro, Be Proud career technical engagement programs around the state. There's an additional $600,000 in Workforce Solutions for 3 years each year for pre-apprenticeships and internship funding. And there was the $40 million pilot program for that's going to set aside funds for apprenticeships, and that creates a trust fund that you can draw $1.5 million to $2 million a year funding for apprenticeship programs. So that is an ongoing funding structure as well. So there was significant investments this cycle around kind of access to the economy through those different investments. And I think those were the ones that I really wanted to point out that I think will help move the needle. I guess the one other piece was Representative Dixon led the charge and Serrato led the charge on getting additional funding for affordable housing as part of the Enterprise Investment Act and board. They got an additional $150 million in funding, low-income funding, and workforce housing, and an additional 75 for economic development work, kind of partnership that is tied to the strategies set up by EDD, and public-private partnerships for very low cost loans. So in many ways, it was a very robust session for a 30-day, but a lot of meat that was put on the bones there.
Thank you, Rob. That's very helpful.
Rob, sorry to interrupt. Can you repeat the name of the first program you mentioned, the government opportunity and something fund?
Yes, it is the Government Results and Opportunity Expendable Trust. And you'll find that it's just in, well, I take it back. I think they ran a, Representative Small had a separate bill creating the trust part, and then the funding sits in the HB2. And it's unique in the sense that it's also a 3-year funding cycle, with the idea there's a whole bunch of different pilots, both for higher education and workforce solutions. And in there, you know, if those are successful pilots, they have the opportunity to have ongoing funding.
Any other comments or report backs from council members or questions about session?
Just a quick
Patricia.
comment, Patricia here. Thank you to all of you who I didn't make it up to the session at all this year. Sounds like you guys are busy. Sounds like it was a real success. And I just wanted to personally thank you for your efforts. I know it's hard work, and I'm happy about what I'm hearing. So thank you.
Yeah, big thanks to everybody. Great work. Didn't get everything we wanted, but you know, that's the nature of the legislature, but some really good stuff. Anybody else? Okay, well then we're going to move to public comment. I see that we may have like 3 folks that are attendees. So open up to public comment if there is anything. Oh, and Chani or Kayla.
I have a clarifying question and then I'll let Kayla go. So in terms of the schedule that we put up on the screen, will we just work to finalize that and then send it out when we finalize that? And then we have like the couple suggestions around Socorro and changes. So that won't be the final schedule yet, but we'll work to get that out probably by like the end of the month isn't, but mid-March, maybe early March.
Absolutely. I hope we can finalize it by first or second week in March.
And my question, so I saw in the chat, Atsa, that you had said you're happy to help with the tribal engagement working group. So that sounds great. And I have a related question around, do folks want to, I guess, is anyone on the call willing to participate in either group? I know people had said initially, but that was over a year ago. So I just want to re-engage on interest for that so that I can get with you to schedule those groups. And then my second question is, are you comfortable with this format for engaging on the state plan? Because we did decide ourselves whether we would do sort of an extended format like Michael was talking about, where we break up pieces of the plan by topic and then you guys engage with us on those. I mean, it would be painful, but we can also do it all in 2 meetings, for example. So I tend to lean towards having it drawn out, but are there any comments on what you would find most helpful, keeping in mind that your feedback can also come in the form of, if you want to discuss any part of the plan individually with me or have some time aside with us, we can do that. And then you can raise what we've discussed in a meeting. So I'm kind of here at your disposal, however you are most comfortable engaging. So I have a working group question and I have a state plan engagement question.
So feel free to indicate in the chat or come mute. If there is a particular working group you want, one of the two that Kayla's highlighted. I see that Daisy is interested in the community engagement working group. And the other question on process around engaging with the state plan, are you interested in doing the bite-sized pieces? Or would you all rather do one big session on the plan?
And sorry, James, and I apologize if I missed this. Did we get, I know that we had the group agenda who was updating the plan come and present to us. Did anything ever come of that update?
Shawnee and Kayla, do you want to update us on that?
So in terms of if anything came from the update, like the updates were completed and they were done. But given kind of the feedback from the council members and the community around the use of the contractor, those like those updates haven't been exactly posted to the website yet. It still has, it's right now on the state plan website, you still have I think it's only the original plan, and then there is like the green kind of economy report that the New Mexico Chamber did, that is posted there as well. In terms of did anything happen with it, do you want to elaborate a little further? Because they did the updates, and then Kayla before session met with something like 48 to maybe 60 individual groups and agencies and people mentioned in the plan, and got additional updates on where some of those action items and priority items have landed. But in terms of a formal update to like the website page, that has not been done yet. It's on our list.
Yeah, and James and I, Chair Poviwa and I had discussed this yesterday, just that we don't currently have any plans to use a contractor for this round of updates. Myself and Michael will be the ones helping to capture your feedback into the plan. So that's why I really want to have an open dialogue on what you prefer, because as Michael was saying, it's a very long and unapproachable document. So I want to make sure that you feel comfortable with how we're doing that.
So I think that's great, and I think having you and Michael are the appropriate folks to capture this group's input into the plan. But I guess my thought or my understanding is that EDD had contracted with Agenda to do an update to the plan, and we got a little bit of, I don't remember if at what stage in the process they presented to us, and then nothing publicly has ever happened with that information. And that seems, I was trying to find out why, and if it did and I just missed it. And I appreciate that it's an ongoing it's an iterative process, but if it's not a public process that the industry can see, that's problematic. So that's what I'm trying to get my head around.
Sure, and that's probably due just to department capacity. We have the plan, just hasn't sent out a press release on it at this point. And I think, okay, we have a meeting with leadership. We'll address getting that updated plan posted to the website.
And let's just follow up whenever. I mean, I get you guys and you're just coming out of session. You got a lot of stuff going on. I just want to put it back on the radar screen and because it's, that sort of data is really helpful as for planning purposes, for when we are talking to folks and trying to recruit them here or do different types of things. So that just having that accessible whenever it's possible will be super helpful. So thank you.
Yeah,
Thanks,
and say a lot of this predates me, but I do think I'm still getting caught up. But having us on board, like you were just saying, might add a bit more continuity to this process. So you all know that I'm back through and synthesizing the past meetings to see what we might have missed with that turnover or things that you wanted that didn't happen. So I know I've said this a lot of times, but I just want to say again, if you have thoughts about things you wanted that did not occur or themes that you want highlighted to bring forward, please do get in touch with me because that's ongoing.
Thanks, Kayla. Good points, Rob. And I also would like SEAC and possibly set forth to present during interim committees, at least to one key committee for the legislature. And we can pay attention to the interim committees to see what would be the most appropriate venue to do so. Patricia?
Oh, let's see. Sorry.
Not at all.
Okay, I wasn't sure my mute button was on or off. Just to answer, I think the discussion took a different direction, but just wanted to say that I would prefer bite-size reviews and analyses of the plan whenever that time has come. So
Great. Thank you. And hearing no kind of opposition to that, that's what we're going to go through. We can adjust if it's not working, but we'll go with that for what we're doing. Any other discussion on this? Okay, excellent. Well, then I would like to move to public comment if there is any. And if you are online and joining us and are not a panelist, please raise your hand and we'll pay attention and get you off of mute.
I'm not seeing any hands here, Pokeball.
Okay, well, see one hand raised, Michael.
Yeah, that's me, sorry. Nana Benavides, she was in the audience. She keeps getting kicked off, she says, but she wanted to raise the fact that the week we're looking at for Silver City or Grant County is the same week that they're having the big bike race there. And so it could be hard to navigate through town, and then prices will go up for lodging, things like that. So she just wanted to make sure we were aware of that.
Great, good to know. We'll work with that. Okay, well, seeing no other indication of public comment, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So move, this is Rob.
Thank you.
Second, Jonathan Perry.
Thank you. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Hi.
Aye.
aye.
Excellent. Thank you all. And we will see you all in March. We are adjourned.